Obviously, my husband is cheating on me, and I just need a minute.
That is a grown woman in her 50s, sitting across from her fiancé in Tunisia, casually mentioning, in the same tone a person uses to bring up a parking ticket, that she is technically, right this minute, still married to someone else. Zied is 27. Zied did not know. Zied's face in this scene is a documentary.
But clearly, when you see the actual scene, Zied was being very calm. He was actually apologizing. He was pulling me close to him. I'm the one that was still angry and pulled away from him. Had he kissed me or...
That is the 27-year-old Tunisian man who has just been informed that his 50-year-old American fiancé flew to the country to meet him while still legally married to a different man. This not normal. Zied, respectfully, is correct. This is not normal. This is, however, season 8 of 90 Day Fiancé.
Also, Rebecca's story isn't adding up either.
Rebecca Parrott, Georgia, 49 when she meets him, twice divorced, one prior marriage to, and I want you to hold this, a Moroccan man, exactly the same age gap, exactly the same North African runway. This is not Rebecca's first rodeo. This is Rebecca's third rodeo, and she brought her own rope.
About it, and they're talking about it because she is on a reality TV show, people, and people are going to have opinions. So people were talking about it, and Rebecca decides to take to Instagram.
Okay, so something...
She meets Zied on Instagram. She flies to Tunisia. She lies to her adult daughter about where she is going. She lies to the U.S. government, at least by omission, about the legal status of her first Moroccan marriage. And she lies to Zied himself on camera by letting him find out in the apartment in Hammamet that she is, again, still married. Rebecca is not bad at logistics. Rebecca is great at logistics. She is just running a different operation than the one
with her and Zied madly in love. I love.
This is the thing 90 Day Fiancé has trained us to miss. We have watched, for 10 seasons, older American men bring home younger foreign women, and we have been taught, correctly, most of the time, to clock the power imbalance. We read the age gap. We read the wealth gap. We read the visa gap. We clock the predation. We call it what it is. Big Ed, Michael and Angela, Chuck and baby girl Lisa. The show agrees with us.
So let me get this straight. You thought that your husband was cheating?
But here, same age gap, same wealth gap, same visa gap. Rebecca, 50, flew to Tunisia with a suitcase and a plan. Zied, 27, in a country with 15% youth unemployment and a dying tourism industry, stood at the arrivals gate and waved. And 90 Day Fiancé framed it all season as a love story. Because the gender direction is different, and the show, like the franchise, like the whole reality TV industrial complex, runs on a profoundly one-way definition of which direction the exploitation goes.
We left Rebecca after she and her daughter-in-law had followed Zied and caught him in a parking lot with a blonde lady.
That is Rebecca, filming through a windshield, her own fiancé walking through a parking lot with another woman at night in Tunisia. Narrated by Rebecca in a whisper, like a nature documentary about a creature she is, in this scene, the documentary's subject of.
And it's at this point that the blonde lady in question asks Zied how he feels about his own wife not trusting him.
Let's do the math on this parking lot. Rebecca is 50 plus. Rebecca is in Tunisia. Rebecca is, and this is not a metaphor, actively sitting in a parked car at night, surveilling a man she has flown across an ocean to marry. The woman Zied is walking with is blonde, in a black dress. Rebecca, in the voiceover, calls her the other one. And the voice Rebecca uses, the detective voice Rebecca uses, is the voice of a person who has done this before. She has. She did this to her second husband, the Moroccan one, the one she was still married to when she landed in Tunis. Rebecca is not the victim of a cheating fiancé. She is the serial investigator of them. The pivot is this. Reddit thinks Rebecca is sad. Reddit thinks she is insecure about her age, insecure about being older, insecure about Zied's attention. Reddit pities her. Rebecca has spent the last 3 years scolding Reddit for pitying her. She made a public video telling fans to stop calling Zied abusive. She runs her own YouTube channel. She makes money on the cottage industry of her own anger.
Needs to be said right now about this whole domestic abuse thing in that last Sunday's episode. I need to make it very clear, Zied was not abusive. I get that the preview looked abusive. It looked like it was, questionable, but
That is a 50-year-old woman on her own YouTube channel defending her 28-year-old foreign husband from internet strangers who are worried about him. Read that sentence again. The power dynamic it implies is the entire plot. Rebecca is not the one being protected. Zied is.
Hold on, wait a second. During that awkward meal, during the small talk at lunch, Zied's colleague mentioned that he worked as a chef at a steakhouse. But
They eventually marry on 90DF Season 8 in a ceremony that frames the whole age gap conversation as charming. Rebecca's adult children are there. Rebecca's ex-husbands are not. Zied's family is reserved. Zied is calm. Zied has been calm, actually, through all of this, because Zied has the look of a man who has decided early that the price of admission is occasional emotional narration in a second language, and he is paying that price on time every month.
Someone else did. They're just trying to help you out. You're always, if you go on her Instagram site, she's always basically telling her fans to butt out. Butt out of my business.
And here's the part the franchise does not advertise. Rebecca owns her own YouTube channel. She posts weekly. She monetizes her marriage in a way that would make any traditional broadcaster blush. The jealousy is content. The doubt is content. The parking lot surveillance was, in hindsight, a pilot. Rebecca is not a wife. Rebecca is a creator, and Zied is her single longest-running IP.
Don't get me wrong, I love Moldova.
The pre-famed Zied job discourse on Reddit has been a thing for 4 years, and the franchise won't touch it. What we know from his visa paperwork, from local reporting, and from Rebecca's own off-camera comments is that Zied's pre-Rebecca life involved informal economy work in a country where informal economy work is the only economy for a lot of young men. This is not a roast of Zied. This is a diagnosis. A 27-year-old man in Tunis with no realistic path to economic mobility, matched on Instagram with a 50-year-old American woman with a Georgia house and a cosmetics job. That is not a romance novel. That is a feasibility study.
Rebecca, don't you just love his accent? Or are these two going to be fighting and he's going to be like, where did you get this picture? You never know with these two. They're like hot and cold. And so it drives.
That is a man who has made his peace with the arrangement. Look at him. He is calm. He's polite. He's accommodating. He is making, on that single shot, fewer emotional demands than any female cast member on the franchise. And somehow he is the one Reddit thinks is using her. Rebecca's genius, and it is a genius, is that she has cultivated a fan base that worries about her while she is sitting in a parked car with a camera running the plates on her husband. The second pivot is this. The franchise has one explicit thesis it will say out loud, which is that love is borderless. The franchise has one implicit thesis it will not say out loud, which is that the exploitation of young foreign partners is a horror show when the buyer is male and the midlife adventure when the buyer is female. 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After gave Rebecca a sympathetic edit for 5 years. 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After gave Ed Brown a punchline edit in the same 5 years. The same camera, the same lighting, the same demographics, different verdict. Because the franchise, for all its liberal credentials,
Rebecca brought her daughter-in-law to snoop on what Zied was up to at the bar and who he was with.
Rebecca's adult daughter, Tiffany, has said on camera more than once that she thinks the relationship is a bad idea. Rebecca has said on camera more than once that Tiffany's being unsupportive. This is the exact energy of a man in his 50s being warned by his adult children that the foreign fiancé is after a visa and responding by telling the children they are jealous. We would clock that man in 2 seconds. Because Rebecca is female, because Zied is male, because the age vector points the opposite way, the franchise gives Rebecca the granted wisdom edit, the soft focus, the honey-voiced interview angle. Rebecca gets to be the one who knows. Ed never got to be the one who knows.
Or I kissed him or something like that, it would have looked completely innocent. At no time has Zied ever been abusive or would be abusive. On top of the fact that TLC and Sharp Entertainment would not have...
And the fights. Look at the fights. Zied doesn't really fight. Zied gets fought at. The arguments are one-directional. Rebecca accusing, Zied absorbing, Rebecca escalating, Zied absorbing more. There is no Tunisian man storyline here. There is a Georgia woman in Tunisia storyline, and Zied is weather. The franchise watched 6 seasons of this dynamic, and still in the confessionals, and still in the promos, the grammar is Rebecca is worried. The grammar is never Zied is cornered. And those are the same sentence run through different lighting.
You see, Rebecca's son, Brandon, wants a little extra confirmation about who exactly was there.
The age gap framing is itself a defensive smokescreen. The franchise makes every interview about how Rebecca feels about being older, how Rebecca feels about looking different, how Rebecca feels about the wrinkle industrial complex. And every single minute we spend on Rebecca's feelings about being 50 is a minute we are not spending on Zied's feelings about being a 27-year-old Tunisian man whose domestic trajectory is now being determined by a woman he met through an algorithm. The show cannot stop talking about Rebecca's age because if it stopped, silence would point all at once.
Filter Rebecca. That's what I'm calling her. Filter Rebecca. I wish Rebecca had a filter on her personality, because now that she's taking off the mask and we see the real personality, well, it's just plain confusing. I mean,
And about the Moroccan ex, this is the detail nobody wants to sit with. Rebecca's previous marriage, the one she was, let me remind you, still legally in when she flew to Tunisia, was to a Moroccan man she had met online, also younger than her, also from North Africa, also with the exact same immigration-adjacent incentive structure. Rebecca ran this playbook once, it didn't work, and she ran it again, same hemisphere, different country, with better camera crew. Rebecca is not unlucky in love. Rebecca is a repeat offender at love. To be fair, and here comes the walk back, because at 10 minutes in, a roast that doesn't acknowledge the real person inside the edit is not criticism, it's a gossip column. Rebecca has also, by every visible metric, been loyal to Zied for the better part of a decade. The marriage has survived longer than most 90DF couples. She genuinely appears to love him. She has built a public life in which he is the central fixture. The cynical reading, the one I've been building all episode, is not the only reading. The charitable reading is that Rebecca, twice divorced, 50, terrified of being alone, did the hardest possible.
And get this, just to make matters even worse, Rebecca has invited her son and her daughter-in-law to this meal too.
The 90-Day Diaries parking lot episode in April 2026 is the most recent installment. Zied again with another woman. Rebecca again with a camera. Rebecca narrating, again like a woman who has been in her own private life The director of a reality show nobody hired her to make for 6 years and counting, and she will not stop because the surveillance is the marriage. Take it away
on this wide of a platform because that's dangerous. So let's stop this now.
Now, here's the problem with that statement, Rebecca. You're on a reality TV show. People are going to talk about it.
Here's what the franchise keeps refusing to notice. The age gap is not the plot. The age gap is the permission slip. Rebecca gets to do what the show would never let a 50-year-old man do, because the 50-year-old man would be on the B-roll of a human trafficking documentary. Rebecca gets the key light. Rebecca gets the confessional. Rebecca gets Zied. Rebecca isn't afraid Zied is cheating. Rebecca is afraid Zied is going to stop cheating, because the day he becomes faithful is the day she has to be, at last, in a marriage, not a documentary. And she has never once, in 3 marriages, actually wanted one of those. 3 decades of American reality TV has trained audiences to find the predator, and Red, to its credit, usually finds him. The franchise points, the fans pile on. Big Ed becomes Big Ed. The older man with the younger foreign wife gets the big in front of his name for a reason. The adjective is the verdict. But the genders flip and the machine glitches. Nobody has a prefix for Rebecca. There is no Big Rebecca. There is no Tunis Rebecca. There is just Rebecca, the soft focus, age-anxious, camera-owning, parking lot surveilling matriarch of her own franchise extension. And the franchise cannot quite say the sentence out loud. So the franchise just keeps filming. And when Zied, someday, finally, aged out of whatever calculation brought him here, walks into a Tunisian sunset and does not return her messages, Rebecca will film that too. She will film the breakup. She will film the grief. She will film the next candidate. There is a next candidate. There always is. The Moroccan one had a replacement. The Tunisian one will have a replacement. Rebecca doesn't have 3 fail. If you made it this far, you either love me or you're looking for something to yell about in the comments. Either way, like, subscribe, and tell your sister.